Hello, welcome to Fancy Guy. My name is Guy, of course, not Gooey. So not Gooey, Guy. So today we're going to be talking about command line interfaces, right? So specifically how to create one using a Python library called Click. So a command line interface, it's something that you can use in your terminal to interact with your computer, be it Windows, Mac, OS, Linux, any flavor you might like, that you can run from the terminal. So in here, I'm going to showcase a couple of command line interfaces that I've done before, and after that, I'm going to show you how to create one. So today, right. So one of the that I've created before is a Jira command line interface. So this one actually fetches my stories to actually work with. ABAC, which is for a billing a tool that is usually just available through a web view. And who wants to go to a website? I want to actually see text in my black screen. And we also do have here something like called Turnip. This one I created, I think it's quite fun. Oh, it is not installed in here, but I'm going to install it later to show you. But this is to track, turnip prices in Turnip Exchange for Animal Crossing. So I don't want to be just, going to a website, taking a look into the prices that people might be selling their turnips at. I just automated it all out here from my command line interface. You can do all sorts of things in here, right? So let's show you how to create one and how to do something cool with that. So right here I am in a folder called Super CLI. I know it's not, super creative, but today we're going to be creating a Super CLI so that it can do pretty much anything that you want. So to do that, let's open Visual Studio Code. It's our code editor here today that we're going to be using. And let's create a couple of files, shall we? So first of all, we need to be able to install our command line interface. So I'm going to just open a new file here. I'm going to select here to be Python. And what I'm going to do is just call the setup tool. So we're going to be able to use pip. Pip is the package manager for Python. And we're just going to do that, right? So from setup tools, import setup. So we're just going to do a setup of our tool in here. So to do that, I need to actually call out a couple of things. So the name of our CLI here, which is going to be called, of course, Super CLI. Why wouldn't it be Super CLI? And also, what we're going to do is just give it a version, right? So let's give it a version. We're starting off, so semantically, let's just call it 000. And whoops, not capitalize. Python, you're trying to be way too helpful here. Then the packages, of course, we're gonna packages. No, there's something wrong here. No. Packages. Now, let's find the packages here. So this is gonna actually tell me what the. No. Find packages. There we go. That's better. All right, so this is just going to find the packages for me, so I don't have to do much. Also, I need to actually tell which requirements I actually have, right, to install. So install requires. And in here, I'm going to pass a list of packages that actually are required. So for now, let's just use Click. And also, what we need is an entry point. There we go. And the entry point here is going to tell how to run this. So this is going to be a console scripts. So what it's going to do is actually going to install and copy the files, put it in the path of my where it's runnable, right, executable. Put the shebang of Python, so it's going to be able to call out Python whenever running this, and then I just need to pass it along where it needs to run, right? So this is Super CLI. I want to call it using Super, yes. It's going to be from the Super CLI package, and it's the function Super CLI. All right, that's going to make more sense soon, I swear to God. All right, so let's solve that, save that as setup.py. Okay, saved. And let's try to install it. So I'm gonna just open up a terminal here. Let's make it a little bit bigger in here so you can see. And what I'm gonna do is just a pip install editable. Editable is important, so whenever we save, we don't have to be reinstalling it all the time. So it's just going to make a reference to the files that we have in here to the actual path of execution. So let's try to install it. There we go. So Super CLI is installed. It's going to actually create all the reference information and dependency lists, you know, all this fancy stuff that actually makes it work. And now we should have a Super CLI in here that, of course, does nothing. There's no Super CLI module. There's no Super CLI function. So let's create one, shall we? So to do that, we're just going to create Super CLI Python. And what we're going to do is import Click. Now, what Click gives us is something really cool that is a decorator. We can talk about those later if you want to know more. Just put it down in comments and I can make a video about decorators and how to create one and how Decorator framework actually, well, it's not really a framework, but anyhow, if you want to know more about that, I can definitely talk about that if you want. So in here, Click actually gives us a command decorator that creates a command based on that. Ain't that cool? So what we're going to call this is just that Super CLI function, right? So Super CLI function. And for now, let's just print hello world. How creative, Guy. Oh, wow. World, an exclamation mark, because who are we? Exclamation marks are cool. All right, so now we do have Super CLI. So what happens if I try to run Super again here? Well, would you look at that? Hello world. So what it's doing here, it's actually calling that out, parsing out whatever it's coming after. So Click is going to do that for us, and telling and injecting whatever is necessary to our command line to work. And you're probably asking yourself, injecting? What do you mean by that? So there are other parsers and to actually create command line interfaces. I just like Click because it looks fancy, and I'm fancy. You did the math. So what do I mean by fancy then? So let's say I want to actually say hello to myself. Hello, Guy. How would I do that? Well, I would do something like this. So hello, then my name, of course. Well, let's go here. Hello space name plus exclamation mark. There we go. But I need to pass the Super CLI a name, of course, right? So what Click gives us actually here is the option decorator, which we can actually pass the long version of, hey, the parameter name, the option name, and you can also give it a short name for a name. A help string, so name of the person to say hello. And we could also say it's required. That's pretty cool, isn't it? So now, let's see how it goes. So now if I save this and I run Super again, it's going to tell me, hey, you're missing the option dash name or -n. Oh, that's cool. But I don't know what that means. What if I run help? Wow, would you look at that? So Click already creates for us the documentation and manuals, how to use our CLI if we do make it so. So if as you can see, there's nothing here about what Super is. What we can do is actually create a doc string. Doc string is just, you know, a documentation string that you pass for your function so people would know what it does. And this is, and I can just tell it, this prints hello name, and that's it. So now if I save that, what it's going to do is just going to pass along that documentation string there so people will know what it does. And now, okay, it's asking for a name. So if I do super dash name and Guilherme, my full name actually, I'm giving away where I'm from, don't I? Ain't I? Yeah, anyhow, it says hello Guilherme. So it's just going to inject for the option name the actual string Guilherme. So it's just going to print it out. Hello Guilherme. Fancy, isn't it? Now let's say we wanted to not throw an error whenever someone just calls out super but doesn't actually pass along the name. So Click has a bunch of ways that you can work around that. So you can actually do a default value, which if it is required, we don't want a default value, of course. But you can actually do something really cool like prompt. So, and tell it how to prompt your name, please, and then as a new line. So what is it going to look like? Let's see. So if we just call out super, it's just going to ask, hey, your name, please. And then I'm just going to say, yeah, it's Guilherme. You're so polite. Oh, hello, Guilherme. Isn't that so cool? So Canadian. So, you know, you can play around with this and do all sorts of things. I want to show before I go, this is already 10 minutes and I know I said it was going to be fast, but let's say I wanted to pass now an argument, something that doesn't actually have a option notation to be parsed upon, right? So I can also use click argument and pass the name of the argument here. So let's say number, and this here is going to be just a number of times to say hello. So what we can do here is actually do for and range number, and our number is going to be passed along as a text. So I'm just going to put it here as an integer because, right, Python's not going to try to, it's not going to like to create a range of a string, right? Words, they don't actually make sense in numbers unless it's base 64, but you know what I mean. So I'm gonna just do a range here for the number that it's passed along as an argument, and what it's gonna do is just gonna print out a number of times. So if I try to run super again, back here, please. Now it's gonna say that we're missing the argument number. So let's pass along 10 and tell super my name, and it's gonna just tell me hello Guilherme 10 times. Isn't it cool? So with that, you can already do all sorts of things, right? So you can automate a model. So let's say you want to print out a model of a text. So let's say we have a super important text for, then let's say here name, and then colon. Let's put it in a new line so we do. You've been a great person to talk with. So let's say our CLI says like, yeah, it's been great talking with you. I know I'm not very creative. So, and now what you can do, if you have in your job that you have to repeat that for, 10 times for a person, you just say person and a super important text for person. You've been a great person to talk with. I'm not really creative, guys? But you can see you can see that there's a lot of things that you could do with it. So next time, what I'm going to show you here is how to create a CLI that fetches, let's say, the stock price of a stock, right? So the price of a stock in the market. And to do that, what I'm planning on doing is actually going to Yahoo and there we go, let's just open here and going to Yahoo and searching for the stock price, or not, maybe we're gonna just go to Google. Google also gives that to us. So if you just type something like GME to the moon, we can just parse it out and try to grab the stock price. That'll be fun, wouldn't it? So please subscribe, and if you guys please subscribe if you guys want to see how that would work. But I'm just gonna be using click. All right, I've been talking for quite a while. Thank you, everyone. See you in the next one.